Hey everybody, and welcome back to Life with Lolo. It's time for our weekly recap of 911. This is season 4, episode 5, and it was titled Buck Begins. Alright, y'all, before I jump into this recap review, if you are not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell. And if you end up liking this recap review, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and the share button. All right, y'all. So this episode was really good, and we got a glimpse of the past, Buck and Maddie, as they were growing up and stuff like that, and trying to get them like a little background story. So I thought it was really cute. So it goes back and forth. So it goes in the past and then in the present time. So it starts with 1996. We see a young Maddie and Buck, or Evan as they called him, and she's teaching him how to ride a bike. Child, he kept falling, getting back up. He kept falling, getting back. I said, Lord, somebody help Buck. But then he was finally riding the bike. He was finally riding it after like 1,000 falls. He was finally riding it. And then he scared me for a second because he looked like he was about to run into traffic. I said, oh my God, we about to lose Buck already. Like, what is going on? But then he turned it around. He got his balance and stuff, was able to turn the bike back up to Maddie. She was all excited and cheering like she was the parent and stuff. And then he ended up falling. So then the parents come out there. What's going on? Why are you falling? What's going on? What's going on? They look at the bike. Where'd you get that from? The mom, she trembling and stuff. And Maddie's like, well, I found it in the garage under some old stuff or whatever. And the mom is mad about the bike. The dad mad about the bike. They start yelling and stuff. They go inside the house. Buck is like, oh my God, they mad at me or whatever. We see on the back of the bike, it says Daniel on there. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's why they was upset. They yelling and stuff, and the parents is like, you should have just left it where it was. No. No, the dad was yelling at her, talking about something, you should have just left the bike where it was or whatever like that. Then we see present time, and Maddie is telling Buck like he was 7 years old when he died. You was born a year later. And Buck was like, well, how did he die? She was like, leukemia. And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh my goodness. They had Buck so he could be a bone marrow match for the child. And that's exactly what it was. They had Buck because Maddie, the dad, and the mom were not a match for Daniel. So having a sibling, another sibling, or I'm surprised they didn't use the not the red blood cells, the not the bone marrow, the placenta, I can't think. Oh, the placenta cells, well, what is it in the placenta? It's something that they use from the placenta. I'm surprised they didn't use that because stem cells, that's what it is. I'm surprised they didn't try to use like stem cells or something like that. But they tried to, Buck was a match for the bone marrow. And the bone marrow matched, but it didn't take in Daniel, and then he ended up relapsing or whatever because it didn't graft right or something like that. And then like a year later, he ended up dying and stuff like that. And so Maddie was just telling us about that. And then she said that they packed up and moved away to somewhere else because they were in Hershey. Then they moved somewhere else in Pennsylvania away once he died and stuff like that because it was just too hard for them. So they were still grieving and stuff. And of course, Buck is feeling like, well, damn, they just had me because of their son and stuff like that. So now their son is dead, and now here I am, and like what does that leave me or whatever? And she was like, well, I wanted to tell you and stuff, but time got away. So then of course he got upset and he left. Next we see Maddie. She in the kitchen with her mom and the dad, and they yelling at her like, why would you tell him? Why would you let him know? And she was like, well, I should have told him a long time ago or whatever. And the dad yelling at her like, don't yell at your mom. And she like, look, I am not a child no more. I needed to tell him, he needed to know or whatever. And they were saying they moved because they were being judged because of having Evan or whatever. Because I guess the neighborhood, it was a small town, I guess, I don't know, child. But everybody knew why they had Evan. They knew they used the bone marrow from Evan to save Daniel and stuff like that. So then, of course, it was talking around the town. They felt guilty and all this other stuff. So that's why they packed up their stuff and moved or whatever. So, she was saying like, you disappeared. Maddie was telling them like, you disappeared inside your grief and you just basically left us to fend for ourselves and raise ourselves or whatever. Then we see back in 1996. So we see the mom yelling at the dad because he didn't throw the bike away. He said he wanted to keep one last thing of Daniel's or whatever. Maddie upstairs helping Buck with his wounds and stuff like that. And then Buck is like, they're mad at me. I know they're mad at me and stuff. And she was like, they're not mad at you. It's okay. It's all right. And then next thing, the dad was like, well, how about we buy you a new bike, Buck, or whatever. And then once we buy the new bike, we'll buy you some ice cream. So Buck was like, so they wasn't really mad at me. And so then we see Buck being extra reckless, child. He falling, what was he doing? He was riding the bike, fell and broke something on the bike. Then he was riding the skateboard, tripped on the pebble, or the pebble got underneath the skateboard. He fell on his face, broke his face. Every time he injured himself, he got attention. So that was his way of getting attention. He was in a tree. He fell out the tree, broke his arm. The mama brought him some cereal to the room. Like, every time he did something, he would get attention. And that's why he is the way he is, because he continues to get attention for the things that he does, all reckless and stuff like that. And so then we see present tense. They're in the firehouse, and they're talking. They was like, well, it's a miracle that you survived childhood. The way you injured yourself all the time. And he was like, yeah, it was just so I can get their attention. That was the best way I can get their attention or whatever. And then he was saying, like, they just had him for parts. And he was like, well, defective parts or whatever. This is Buck saying that. And then they was like, well, have you talked to your parents and stuff? And he was like, well, what you want me to say to them? Like, sorry for your dead son. Sorry I couldn't save him or whatever. And then Shim arrives, and he's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you and stuff. I wanted to tell you. And he was like, yeah, but Maddie told you not to tell me. She has that way with people or something like that. So Shimmy wants to apologize again, and he like, look, I ain't got time for it. He was like, you need to talk to her. She cares about you and stuff. And Buck is like, he don't want to talk to Maddie. He mad with Maddie. He don't even want to hear the name Maddie, okay? Then it's back in the past. So it's 2004, not 2014, 2004, okay? Maddie and him is in the car. He's a little bit older now, and he was saying like he was grounded and stuff because he forged his parents' signature on a football consent, and so he's grounded and stuff. And it seemed like, because Maddie took them to their old house, right? And he was like, oh wow, I didn't know. I thought we always grew up in such and such. And she was like, no, we didn't grow up there first. We grew up here or whatever. So he was like, well, why did we move? And so it sounded like she was about to tell him like what happened, because she was like, something weird. I gotta tell you something strange that you might not believe or whatever, but listen to me. And then when she was about to tell him, the phone rang, and it was Doug. So Doug, he wanted to know where she at, what she doing and stuff. And she told him or whatever. And then when she hung up, Buck was like, why he always gotta know where you at all the time? And she was like, because he cares and stuff. So she thought it was sweet at the time. She didn't know he was psycho dyko. So he was like, oh, you wanted to tell me something crazy. So then it was like, it wasn't what she was going to originally tell him, but she told him something else, saying that Doug has enrolled in medical school and he wants to move to Boston. I'm going to be a nurse up there. And he was like, so you going to leave me alone? She was like, well, I'll always be here for you whenever, whatever like that. Don't worry about it. I'll always be here. We'll always be together. They pinky swore and all that other good stuff. So, that is back in the session or whatever. Let me see. Let me make sure. Yeah, so back at the station, Maddie pops up. So Buck is cleaning something or whatever, and she pops up. She wants to know if he's okay. And he like, well, why you want to know if I'm okay now? It's been 29 years since you told me something, so now you want to check up on me or whatever. And she was like, well, I just want to make sure that you're okay, so we can talk or whatever. You can't like run away from this or whatever like that. And he was like, it was supposed to be us versus them, but instead it was y'all three against me or whatever like that. And you not here to make me feel better. You just here for yourself or whatever. And then he leaves because they got a call or whatever. So it's a 5-alarm fire. Child, everybody there. So everybody in that area, near that county, near that warehouse is there, because it is a hand sanitizer business. and you know it's explosives in there, okay? So alcohol in there, glycerin, like all this stuff, whatever you use to make hand sanitizer is in there, and it is very flammable, and the damn thing on fire. So they was like, well, do we have any, and then the sprinklers ain't working, child. The sprinklers ain't working. Like, what in the world? The sprinklers ain't working. They don't know how to, do something. Something was missing. And they couldn't figure it out because they used to be like a perfume place, but then they switched to a hand sanitizer business because of COVID and stuff like that. So they didn't have something in the layout or whatever. 12 people missing. I said, oh my God. So then Cap, he gives everybody their instructions and stuff like that. He puts Chimney and Buck together or whatever. And right now they're not really talking, but you know they got to get the job done. Go back to 2004, we see the mom and dad, they come out yelling about Maddie moving because Doug done dropped the bomb and told them that he was moving, so they mad. We see Buck, he gets on his bike, his regular bicycle, and he starts not running away, but like pedaling for his life, and he crying and stuff. And then we see him on the motorcycle, and he crying and whatever. But he looked like he was still kind of angry. He on a motorcycle, he didn't crash into a car. I said, Lord have mercy. Back at the fire. So we back at the fire. They cut down the door. The fire burning. They see the glycerin, the hand sanitizer and stuff like that. And they was like, okay, there's a lot of fire here, but it's clear we can keep moving forward or whatever. So then they found the door where it was some tiles. So, you know, it's people behind there. So they was like, we found the door with tiles. So it got to be some people in here. So they found like 5 victims or 7 victims. Yeah, 7 victims they found. I think Cat found 4, and then they was missing like 1 more or something like that because it was 12 people in the place. So they was missing 1 more. So Cat was like, we need some help or whatever. So Buck was like, well, y'all got this over here. I'm going to go catch up with them. They was like, but they all the way on the other side of the building. He was like, no worries, I'm going to catch up with them. And so him was like, all right, you're not one in here. Go, you know, help them out or whatever. So he goes to leave or whatever. So then we back in 2012. Well, not back in 2012. We in 2012 right now because before we was in 2004. Now we in 2012. Maddie, she working as a nurse. So she in the hospital. The person, one of her co-workers was like, it's a guy in the behind the curtain. He said, y'all pinky swore or something like that. He looking for you. She was like, what? So she go running over there. It's Buck. So Buck in there, he pacing and stuff, and he like, oh my God, I need to see you. I can't go back home. I got kicked out of school. She was like, again? I said, damn, not again. So she was like, how you get kicked out of community college? He was like, well, if you take your tuition and spice up your motorcycle, yeah, that's how you get kicked out or whatever. So he got kicked out. He asking her like, look, since you back here in the area, can I move in with you? And she got like a wrist thing on her arm. So I was like, oh man, Doug was beating her already and stuff. So she was like, I don't know. He was like, it's Doug. Why is you even still with him or whatever? And she was like, no, just come back. Like, we'll talk about it later or whatever. Because he was basically begging her, like, don't let me go back home because they see through me, like all this other stuff. And she was just like, well, we'll just come back later or we'll talk about it. So then back at the fire, we see Buck, he all by himself trying to help Bobby. I said, Lord have mercy. They, on the intercom, they was, not the intercom, the radio, they was like, the structure is falling apart. It's too much fire. We can't put it out fast enough. The sprinkler's still not working. The structure of the building is falling apart. Everybody got to get out of there. So they still didn't find this other person. So Buck like, well, there's one more person in here. I got to find them. The head dude, he like, no, you need to get out of there. Buck like, I ain't listening to you. Well, he didn't say all that. But he was just like, I got to go find this dude. So he, of course, be super saver Buck. He gonna go find the dude or whatever. So we see Buck not listening, living reckless. Back in 2012, the mom is yelling at him, telling him like, you think you indestructible and you keep doing all this wild stuff. You keep doing crazy things. Like, we can't protect you and stuff. And then the dad was like, why was you even in that area or whatever? Why wasn't you in class? And as soon as he asked him about class, Maddie pulled up in the Jeep outside. So she pulls up in the Jeep outside. He got his bag because he thinking he about to move in with Maddie or whatever. She pulls up in time. He runs out the house. He hops in the Jeep. She pulled down the block a little bit and was like, all right. Here go the keys to the Jeep. Go on, live your life. And he like, wait, what? I can't move in with you? What's going on? And she was like, no. He was like, it gotta be Doug. So Doug don't like me or whatever. She was like, no. What you need to do is just take these keys, take this Jeep, and run far, far, far away. Be happy. Do you or whatever. And he was like, come with me. And she was like, no, I can't. And then he was like, come with me. We can both live our lives. We could both be happy. We can both do X, Y, and Z and stuff. And then she thought about it. She was like, you know what? All right, bet. I can do that. All right. I'm going to do that. So she says she going to leave. Back at the fire, we hear somebody banging on the pipes. Banging on the pipes. Buck like, keep doing that. I can hear you. I'm coming to you. So he get over there to the guy. Why the guy stand up? He got on a mask and he's saying, I said, well, if he walking, why the hell he didn't walk out the fire? But he walking, he get up. Child, they try to find their way out. So it's like 4 ways, I'm going to say. Yeah, so 2 over here. Yeah, 2 over here, 2 this way. They go this way, psh, fire busts out. So they was like, all right, let's go this way. Psh, fire busts out. They like, all right, let's go with it. Psh, fire. This way, psh, fire. So they can't get out nowhere. So they trying to figure out how the hell they going to get out of there. I said, oh my God, Buck. See, this is why you should have just left out. But I understand you want to save the man and whatever. I get it. But 2012, we see Buck. He goes to the hospital and he like, have you seen Maddie? He asking the co-worker. And the co-worker like, yeah, she left me this note for you or whatever. So she left a note basically saying like, I can't come with you. I thought I could, but I can't. Go on, be out there, go be safe and never look back or whatever. So then he runs out there, he mad or whatever. So in the fire, I said, oh God, they about to die. Buck like, all right, I see an area over there on this plankway. We gotta run over across the plank and stuff like that. Can you make it? He was like, yes, I can make it. So they go on the plank, child. Soon as they get like halfway on the plank, boosh! This big explosion come out of nowhere. Of course, they go flying all over the place. Look, I didn't hit myself. They go flying all over the place. I said, oh my God, they is dead. If they kill off Buck, I will never be the same. So 2012, okay, it's a postcard from Buck. So Buck keeps sending Maddie all these postcards from everywhere that he going to, okay? The first one was from like Georgia, and he's saying he going up and down the East Coast, and he said he forgive her for standing him up basically and stuff, but he hasn't forgotten about her. The next one, it was like from Virginia Beach. He a mixologist. Next, he's in Florida. He doing construction. Then he was in Arizona. He a Navy SEAL. Then the day on co-worker was reading the postcards too, and he was like, he done left the Navy SEALs, girl. He didn't. And he sent the picture. So he was like, he left the Navy SEALs because they want robots with red eyes, and he ain't about that life. He was in Oregon working on a dude ranch. I said, Lord. Then he was saying he gonna go to Peru. Why they had that blind wig on? Anyway, he said he going to Peru to be a mixologist. So in 2015, he living in Peru. Child, why they had that wig on Buck? I said, if they don't stop playing with me. So somebody was from LA or something like that. They was getting beards. I think they was also firefighters or something on vacation. And they was saying, like, you should come to LA with us. Or the dude was like, you should come to LA with us because we're all a team. We're all a family or whatever. And so that's pretty much how he ended up going to LA and joining the fire department. So back in the fire, the man was like, I'm so happy that you tried to save my life, but this vat right here had different plans. Child, why the man is underneath the vat? So this the dang on vat, y'all. This the man. He underneath the vat now. I said, oh my God, that thing looks so heavy. Buck couldn't pick it up. He trying, the man was like, this is very heavy. I said, sir, we can see it's heavy. So he said he's trying to save the man or whatever. The chemicals on fire. So the hand sanitizer or alcohol or something is on fire right next to the vat where the man is. I said, oh my God. So that's on fire. The sprinkler system not working. 118 outside. They like, well, where Buck at? Then Buck get on the radio and he like, yo, I'm still in here. I found the last man. Chemicals all around me on fire. The sprinkler system would come in handy. Is it working yet? And they was like, no, it's not working, but we'll help you out and yada yada yada. So they all out there. We like, we gonna send a team in there for you. Child, soon as he said that, boosh, another fire. I said, oh my God. Why is they doing this to me? So the whole thing got on fire. The whole building kind of exploded some more. Everybody looking like, oh my God, oh my God. So then back in 2017, we see Buck. He's still riding the black Jeep and stuff, and he in Cali. It was his first day as a probational firefighter. And then there was 3 Evans in the group, so then they called him Buckley, and that's how Buck stuck on them. And then that's when he met the 118. So back in the fire, present time, Buck's still alive, the man's still alive, but his legs are still crushed, child. Hand sanitizer still on fire. The dude, he can't breathe. I'm like, oh my God, he can't breathe. He about to die. Buck like, just take my mask, breathe in. So the man like, well, what you gonna breathe? He like, I ain't figured that out yet. But I see a fire extinguisher. I'm gonna go get the fire extinguisher. So he go get the fire extinguisher. He come put the fire out for a little bit. The dude steady dying over there. The sprinklers finally come on. So then they put some of the fire out around him. Buck made like a pulley system to try to get the vat off the man, but the vat was still too heavy for him to pull. He was about to give up. You could see it all written on his face, and then like his team came in and helped him pull the the vat, and then somebody drug the guy out from underneath the vat or whatever. And then they outside and stuff. And Buck said he got lost in there. He said 1 minute I knew where I was, and then the next I didn't know, where I was or whatever. And Bobby was like, well, it was amazing there. Like, it's not your fault and stuff. And we knew that you was going to go save the man. You can't blame yourself and stuff. And he was like, but I almost gave up. And they was like, yeah, but you didn't. He was like, yeah, y'all came in there right on time. And then Athena came over there, gave him some encouraging words and saying like, you just being Buck, just never give up and, keep that same energy or whatever. At the station, we see Buck. He got a clean bill of health and stuff. Eddie tells him like, you got some company upstairs or whatever. So it's his mom and dad, and they sit there and they talk to him, and he apologizes for the loss of their, Daniel and stuff like that. And the dad tells him that they don't blame Buck and that it wasn't his fault and stuff like that. And the mom says, you were born to save people. That's what you do. And then she told him that she was very proud of him and stuff. And then basically Buck forgave them for, how they treated him and stuff like that growing up. Chimney checks on him in the locker room and says like, have you spoke to Maddie and whatever. And then Buck is still kind of upset with Maddie because she didn't tell him. And he was like, well, she was supposed to have my back all this time or whatever, but all she gave me was a Jeep. And so Chimney was like, so you must don't know the story behind the Jeep. So then we flashback to 2012 when Buck had went into the hospital to find Maddie so they can go, and he was reading a letter, and then he ended up running out. Behind the curtain, she was behind the curtain beat up by Doug because she gave Buck the Jeep or whatever. So the coworker was like, you should go tell him, like, you should be with your brother right now. You should let him know what's going on. And Maddie was like, I can't leave. You saw what happened when I gave the Jeep or whatever. I can't leave, and he can never know this is going on with me. He's better off, away from here. So I was like, oh my God. So all that time she was still looking out for Buck and not for herself. I was just like, such a big sister. And so he finally go over there and he goes to tell Maddie that he forgave the mom and dad and stuff. And he was saying like he wants to know about Daniel, and she apologized and stuff. And so he was like, well, you can tell me the truth. I don't really have a baby box. And she was like, 1 second. So then she leaves, and she came back, and she still had all the postcards and the pictures and stuff that he sent. And it was really cute. And then we just saw a lot of scenes with Maddie always being there for Buck, and them always having each other's back and stuff. And they always had each other. So it was a really cute episode. And that's how it really ended. And I really enjoyed the episode. It was really cute. It really gave us a story on Maddie and Buck's relationship and how close they were as siblings and stuff like that, and just Buck's story. So I really appreciated that. What did y'all think about the episode down there? And then I'm also happy that they did not kill off Buck, because if they would have killed Buck off, child. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all felt about the episode down there in them comments. If y'all enjoyed this recap review, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And again, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. All right, y'all, until next time, peace.